No one gives a damn about your certifications. Hey, hope you guys are doing good. Welcome back to my video. It's been a while we last posted, so I'm gonna make up for that time pretty soon. Like more and more videos will be coming out very soon. So today's video is most requested one, the most commented one that I've seen so far. So the topic we're talking about today is what to do after graduating from a computer science software course, right? There are like two types of courses, so don't get confused. There is a computer system technician software support, and there is a computer system technician network, right? So today we are just talking about the software one. I'm a graduate from a software support course from Mohawk College, and been working in the industry for past 2 years as a full stack developer. Been promoted once also, and currently I'm working as a senior software developer at a very good company. The reason I wanted to tell you this was so that you can trust me. This was the process that I followed, and it worked out pretty well for me. So I just wanted to share this with you as well, so that you also don't feel that you don't know enough, so that this video will help you throughout the process you will be going through now. So first of all, I am very excited for you guys who just completed their computer science course and now just looking forward to what they should do in order to secure a job. First and foremost, this process is not gonna be easy, right? Spoiler alert. This process is not going to be easy, just as your program was not, right? Program was also not that much easy, and now the job finding will also be not that much easy due to many factors, as you all know. Economy, AI coming in and new technologies growing every day, right? All of that has been happening for the last few years, and we should be taking account of that as well. Still, we will follow the process that we have right now to secure a job, and I have seen and I have also confirmed with many people that this process works for everyone, right? So let's start with this video. So let's start with the point number one. So I'm looking at my script right now, just so that I don't forget to tell you each and everything that I've written down. Start to work on your resume. Resume is, I don't need to talk about what is resume. It's a very important thing, just so that you can convince the recruiter or the hiring manager that why are you good for that job. And as you know, every job is different in its own terms, right? Some companies want more from you, some companies want a little less, some companies want a very different technology that you might not have even heard of, right? All of that is icing, basically icing on the cake, right? So like there's a base of the cake which is very same for all the different types of cake, and there's like different type of icing then comes on top of it that makes it different type of cake, right? Like a cake can be chocolatey to vanilla, all that kind of flavor. That's just because of the icing on the top, right? So icing in this case would be the add-ons that you need to do onto your resume, and the bread inside it would be your resume, right? So make sure that you have a boilerplate kind of resume that is basically a very generic one in terms of you're covering many aspects, many keywords that the recruiter look for. ATS friendly resume should be something that you should focus on. ATS is application tracking system, right? That machine, that piece that a human design, right? That takes care of shortlisting your resume. For example, there's like a opening for a job, right? One opening for, and there's like 1,000 candidates waiting for to get interviewed, right? So there's no way a single recruiting manager would be able to go through all 1,000 resumes. Like they can if they want, but most of the companies are relying on ATS these days, and that determines if your resume will go forward or not, right? So make sure you put in all the keywords you think are there in the job description. So use that, put that in your resume, and make sure you are creating a new resume for every position that you're applying for. I know it will be time consuming, it will be overwhelming, but you need to do that in this market, right? You have to do that. That's what I did as well. I created one big folder of my resume and then created multiple copies of it for different kind of job positions that I applied for, just so that I can track what kind of resume I use for that particular job, so that in the near future, when if I get selected, know what resume I use, so that I can study the resume again and then go for my interview. Because interview is gonna have your resume in their hand, and at that point you need to know what you entered in your resume, right? I'm not saying like you should be entering anything garbage and something that you don't know about. I'm just saying like every resume is different, so every resume needs to be built different. differently. So you need to know what you included in there, right? So just because that resume made you get an interview, so you need to know what you included in there, right? So that's an important point that you should consider. Always keep different copies of your resume for each of the job that you applying for. Don't apply for those jobs which need like 5 or 6 years of experience, even though you can, but there's no way they're gonna hire you because like they're just over over the top. They want to just get a professional in the name of an entry level. That's crazy, right? Next thing I'm gonna talk to you about is building your LinkedIn Second presence. Thing is work on your communication skills. Trust me, oral and written communications are something that we use every day as a developer. I have been using that from day one, and at this day, after like almost 2 years, I'm still using that every day, and I am very much reliant on that to communicate with my colleagues, to communicate with the clients, to communicate with my manager, anyone in my company basically, so that I can tell them what I think about the idea that they're coming with. Even if I can build that, if that's possible, like I need to be able to tell them. Basically, how can you do that? You do that via continuous practice, right? You need to talk to more native speakers. You need to listen to more native speakers. The important part is also build good impression. Communication is how you tell your manager or your future manager that you are a reliant person, so that they don't need to hand hold you and tell you everything, right? So you should be able to go to different meetings without your manager's involvement. You should be able to talk to clients and everyone. So in short, communication is very important here. So don't think that with minimal communication skills, with minimal idea of English, that will take you so far. Like that will take you somewhere, but like not so far. So make sure all these years that you're spending in Canada, you're making yourself resourceful and learning this basic English skill, right? Most important one that makes you visible in the job market is LinkedIn. You might have heard about it a lot, and I cannot emphasize more about it, right? Because this is the most important thing that makes you visible in the job market. You need to have a professional profile, that how people can know like what you are, what are you doing, what are you up to, right? So everything that has to do with your professional life, with your academic success, all of that should be there on your LinkedIn, right? That's how they know this person has some caliber. He can do the job. He or she can get the job done, right? That's what the companies want, right? If you think you don't know how to create a good LinkedIn profile, you can check out my profile. Like I have given the link in the description so that you can have a starter point. Again, my LinkedIn profile is not the best in the world, of course, but I'm still learning, right? So I'm on the process, so you guys can also learn from that, right? So that's not an issue, right? So build a LinkedIn profile, right? Post projects that will help you make yourself visible in the job market. You can show people that what you have done so far. What do you know? You have done a project in Python. Good. Post that. Do an application on that. Like for example, you learned something new, right? You know how to build a game, right? Build a game and then create a video of that, or make a couple of screenshots of that and just put that on the LinkedIn, basically showing that you know stuff. That shows like you know something. That shows like you are able to apply that into an application, right? This was something I was talking about the software languages, but if you know more like HTML, CSS, web dev languages, you can of course build those projects, put that on GitHub. Put the GitHub link also in your LinkedIn so that people know you're active there as well, right? You know how to use Git, because Git has its own different rules and regulations that you need to learn. Not regulations, of course, but rules that you need to learn, the commands that you need to learn, right? So that you're able to commit your projects, you're able to push changes to your project, you're able to merge the changes to your project, right? So because all of that is going to be used day to day in your daily life while you're working in a job, when you're working in a job. So you should be knowing that stuff. That's pretty basic. LinkedIn is not just good for like posting assignments, posting projects, what you have built so far, but also reaching out to recruiters who will actually give you a job, right? So LinkedIn has this thing that you can search for recruiters specifically. You can just go to the search bar, search for just recruiters, and that way You can write maybe you can use different keywords like IT recruiter, or software developer recruiters, or basically you can also enter the city and search for some specific people, I feel, as you like, right? So that way you can reach out to them, you can ask, you can connect to them, you can ask them for any opening if they have in their company, because that's another thing recruiters like, right? If they get a good candidate just in their DMs, that will be like, a great thing. They don't need to put a big job posting. They don't need to do a lot of stuff. They can just, talk to you there, and maybe you can get an interview, right? So that will also make life easier for them. So why not they're gonna go for that, right? So I have experience of messaging a lot of recruiters, right? I used to ask them a lot, right? I used to ask them even about the process of their company, and they used to like that, right? There are many recruiters who I contacted. They had given me the take home assignment, and that also helped me to learn stuff. So they used to give me the take home assignment, as like they used to give me 2 days to complete it. I used to complete it, I used to give them back, and they used to share their comments as what they think about the project that I've completed for them, right? And that's how they used to evaluate my skills, right? So be open to that. Like always, you have to give this thing a time, some time, right? If you want to score a good job, I know, like, being on a postgraduate work permit is like the toughest task, but you need to make time for that as well. If you want to get a good job, like a secure job, a good job, a tech jobs most importantly, then you need to spend some time here, right? I know the process is going to be very overwhelming, and also, sometimes negative, because people feel that they're not good enough, right? They're not getting enough people to respond back to their job applications and everything, and they often get depressed. Me too, I also got depressed, like, but the thing is, like, after multiple attempts, when you will get that final interview call, you will be very happy. You can think of me, like, I was looking for a job in the COVID time, right? So that was like brutal. That was fierce. The competition was fierce because there were not many jobs, and the number of candidates were, like, in thousands, right? So you can pretty much imagine, like, how difficult it was in that time too, right? So in this time, like, you can also look for summer jobs. That's another thing you should be doing. Go for co-op courses that you get at your college, right? Enroll for them. Don't think co-op courses are like just extra time that you're taking that you could have used for your work permit. You can't do anything on work permit, right? Unless you have some kind of experience, right? So look for co-op, look for internships, look for unpaid work if that's like being offered to you. Do get your foot into the door so that you can have something on your work experience list to show that you are capable of, right? There's another myth that people think that if they go for, if they don't go for it, they will be just leaving this behind, right? That is LinkedIn certifications or Udemy certifications or any kind of certifications. So here's the thing. No one gives a damn about your certifications, especially in software courses, right? In software programs. Because here's the thing. The only way that you can show that you are capable of doing something is your projects. So if you're not doing projects and doing certifications, how do they know even if you know how do they know even if you know how to apply that, right? That's how the application works. Like, basically, that how they know it, right? If your application works, if you build an app, if you build something, that's how they know, like, you know how to build something out of that, right? They don't care about the certification. Maybe in other domains like networking, they care about that because there are multiple certifications that you need to go for in that particular domain. But we're not talking about that, right? That's totally different. Don't worry about the LinkedIn certifications. Worry about the basic concepts that you will learn and know how to apply it, right? A single for loop, a single while loop will not take you anywhere. You have to learn how to apply them. You also need to learn how the API side of things work. You need to know how the database side of things work, even if you think you're not going to use it that much. My friend, you're going to use it a lot. Like, I didn't have any experience on SQL, but when I joined, like, my company, I learned that. I came to know that SQL is going to be a bigger part in my whole job. So I learned SQL on the way. I worked on many SQL scripts that I never thought I would be able to because of my skills that I didn't have any in terms of SQL. So I learned that. I knew how I can go about it. I studied other people's work, how they did their how they created their code base, what logic they put in, right? I learned from that. So you have to learn from the code that is already there in your company. And if it's like a new startup and stuff, like there will already be a developer that can help you out. And the most important thing, build a portfolio, man. LinkedIn is not your portfolio. So you will see in a lot of job applications where they ask you to put a link to your portfolio, right? They're not asking you about your LinkedIn portfolio. They're asking you about your actual portfolio, a web page that basically defines that what you are capable of, what you have done so far, what you are thinking to do in future, what you're up to basically. So all that needs to be going onto your portfolio. And to build a portfolio, you can either code it up like from scratch, use the web dev languages and all that, or you can use like some, no code formats like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress. There's also 10 web AI, like that's what I've seen so far. These are like the ones that I've seen so far. So you can use all of these, right? You can build a portfolio for yourself. You can show like what you know about, what language you know about. So portfolio is very important. I cannot emphasize on that much, right? LinkedIn, portfolio, resume, and communication skills. That's what we have talked about so far. And also projects. All these five things are very important in order to go forward, right? Cold emailing is also something that you need to do. So this is what I've covered in the LinkedIn part, that you have to DM them, you have to text them that about the job opportunity they might have in their company, the recruiters I'm talking about. So you can tell them, you're capable developer, you know some languages, you can show them your work, your projects that you've built so far. Try to work on some new technologies compared to what has been taught to you in your college, because what they have taught you in the college is basically old, right? HTML, CSS, everyone uses it, no doubt, but that's like the basic. You have to learn frameworks like Java. In JavaScript, there's a framework called React, right? Built by Facebook. React, Next, TypeScript, all that is new, right? So you should not be using anything that is deprecated in the industry, right? So no one's gonna give you any job for that, right? So always, always look for postings, learn from them what they're looking for in the market, and skill yourself up, right? And here's the thing, if you know one language well, that will help you to build base for the other languages. No developer knows all the languages, so just so you know already. No developer knows all the languages. They learn that on the go. They learn, based on the projects that they go for, they learn that. We always rely on documentation. We always rely on what Stack Overflow to tell us like what we're doing, what we're going wrong, right? And it's totally fine. Like that's what you're doing, right? You're not a machine, right? You're not ChatGPT. You're a human being. So it's very easy not to remember all this stuff, right? But you should be good enough in at least one language. Again, I'm saying that. So this was all my time today. This video is like very long now, so I'm gonna try to trim it as short as possible. And I hope you got the main idea that how you're gonna work on yourself. These are the 5-6 things that I've taught you. Like these are very important ones, right? So make sure that you do all this. And if you have any kind of questions, just hit me up in the comments, or just DM me on Instagram and all that. I'll be very happy to answer you. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next one. Till then, peace. And please subscribe to the channel. Share this so that other people can also know about it. Right? So take care. Peace.